Deme D, man.
Hip hop was good. It's the DagogetaTv. It's your guy Deme D, Mr. Everywhere You Never There. You already know it's another episode of On Deck with Deme, where I bring you the dopest talents in the industry from people who have paved their way in the game and people who are actively paving their way. So today we got a dope producer. Got my guy Spanish Ran on the deck. What's good, my guy?
Conceal a weapon, we go to churches to hear the reverend. I tried to listen to your shit, I got an ear infection.
They so nervous when they speak at the church. Surfing turf, extra butter sauce. Used to have a pellet butter sauce.
Next to the plate, batter up. Before the vodka, I was absolute. A super villain, never had the suit. Oh, you thought I was just passing through? Shit. Pay some tolls, hit the trolls, full control on the
First time left me with the jitters, but the second my comfort started.
Listen, man, what I always like to start my interviews with is what does hip hop mean to you?
It's culture, it's lifestyle, means everything. It's how you dress, how you act, everything. I mean, for me, it's just all personal. So when I remember listening to music for the first time as far as hip hop goes, it directly talked to me, like Nas and Biggie. It's like kind of like you see through their words without even necessarily seeing who they are or what video they have. You just automatically get receptive to it, and this is like me as a kid and shit. So for me, it's all about culture and lifestyle. So that's what hip hop means to me.
Okay, dope. I mean, I relate to that, and I relate to the people you named too. So that's pretty much the people that pretty much you grew up with listening to. That's dope. Yeah. So before we build into that though, I want to start with actually, because you have a project out right now, Long Way to Reach Heaven, that you just put out recently, like last week.
Yeah, last week.
Okay. So let the people know some of the features you have on there.
Damn, it's a lot. Mooch from the Cloth, Aldo, Tree Mason, Blue Asu, Mav, Sauce Hiest, Ty the Dale,
on there.
Ty Ferris, Ace on Eastwood. Shit, yeah.
Some heavy hitters. So for someone who may be catching on, this is your album.
Yes,
this
sir.
is your project. You put the people together. You have other albums such as these. I'm familiar with some of the collabs you did with other MCs directly.
Yeah.
But do you have more albums like these where you pretty much put everyone together?
Nah, it's my first one.
Okay, so that's what's up. That's what's up. Then I'm glad to be able to get that on the show.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Where so. How was that process then? Because I know we're gonna get to that too. You work with many of these MCs that you have on there, on solo stuff with them. What was the decision to do your own thing?
I had all these songs lined up already. Like majority of them was already done probably like 2 years, and pretty much from there I realized that with all the songs I collected over the time, I'm like, yo, this could be my own project right now. Let me see how it sound cohesive first. Once it sounded cohesive, I was like, yeah, I think I could do something. And like probably like 2 or 3 out of the project was brand new, but the rest of them joints was probably like 2 years old that I already had on deck, probably for other people's projects or feature projects, and they didn't use, and I had it on deck, and I just touched it up and made it to what it was. So pretty much a lot of them joints was two and a half, 1 year old songs. I mean, it's still new.
Yeah, because that's the thing, it's still.
Yeah, but to me, like, I'm so like, what's next?
I got that.
So everything to me is like, I got to do something new. Because I'm always progressing creatively. So when I hear something from a year ago, I'm like, I probably would have did this different right now.
Respect that.
So, but at the same time, the audience don't know that. So I'd rather just let me put it out there rather than collecting dust and everything. So, but not to say it's dust.
Nah,
but
you know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Putting it to good use. Because even some of the people, well, probably most of them, they're still active.
Right.
So it's not like it doesn't make good use for them as well. Keeps their name buzzing, keep your name buzzing.
Oh yeah, and it's my first joint, so I was like, let me make sure this is sound right, cohesive, and it's good enough to put out there to the public. You know what I mean? Because when I do projects, it's not one of them joints that I think about it and throw it away. It's like really thought process behind it. I make sure everything sound crispy, cohesive. It flows through there. You can just drive with it, not no skip play. I'd rather just straight smooth album, you know.
Yeah, I think anybody that taps in, they'll catch that vibe too. Because most of your projects, I feel like they are cohesive. But this one particular, I think you definitely did a good job, like you said, because that was your focus. Is there anyone that you kind of wanted to work with on this project or get on this one that didn't make it?
Rome Streets was one.
Okay. He's killing shit right now.
Hell yeah. We had like 2 joints in the past or whatever. Rome Streets was one. Well, I mean, I ain't really reached out because these are majority of the time. The only person I reached out was Ron Streets, and he was caught up in hit and what he had to do. But besides that, everybody that was in the project is pretty much people I reached out to off rip that already had joints or a relationship with that worked out the way it did. They gave me the verses back fast, and that's pretty much what it was. But really, Ron Streets. Who else I had in mind? Stalker. From YL and Stalker.
Okay, I'm not familiar with him.
Yeah, Stalker. Yeah, he a dope rapper. I mean, YL and Stalker is they're solo artists, but they work together. So, but them two, but at the same time, I had them in mind. It wasn't like a sense of me reaching out, telling them like, yo, I got a project coming up. The only one was I just mentioned earlier. But other than that, everybody I already had a solid relationship with. It was just quick text, call, I got you. Yeah, which was it's rare for most producers, but if you got a relationship with an artist and you already built with them in the past, it's nothing but a call, you know. So I'm fortunate enough to have that, you know what I mean? So yeah.
I want to speak to that too, because for anyone who's not pretty privy to who you work with or how you've been moving, like some of the people you have on this album, you do a lot of work with. Is it kind of like a collective, or it just happened that y'all just caught a wave and just moving together as far as making music?
Well, it's a collective.
It is a collective.
Yeah, it's a collective. Yeah, I mean, but these are people that we ain't coming into on somebody go, we're gonna start a group and we're gonna do this and that. It just so happened to pan out that way because of I'm the middle ground. I'm the middle guy. So pretty much, I knew everybody separate, but I managed to bring everybody together. Yeah. But we all got history with one another, which is crazy. Like a lot of people did music later on, and some people been doing music for a long time. Even for myself, I wasn't really producing like that. I didn't really take producing seriously till like 3 years ago. I always played with the fact, but I wasn't really like, yo, I'm gonna be a producer. I was really on some like choreating and bringing people together into the studio, trying to be an A&R type of shit.
Okay, which is very necessary. I think people overlook.
Yeah.
So who's part of the collective for anybody who probably wants to tap in with the people you're working with?
Yeah. So the collective obviously is the church. So it's not like a Wu-Tang group and all that, but as far it's kind of like
they're gonna see that you work with often.
What's a good example to put it? Kind of like what's the joint with Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul.
Oh, Native Tongues.
It's like Native Tongues. They ain't throw it in your face, but it's like, oh, they always together.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of lane I wanted to bring. I want to bring it into like they fuck with each other, but they're not necessarily throwing it in your face like they're a group or they come in full storm on some Wu-Tang shit. Obviously, that's what it was, and that's what it is, and people see that we're always together. But I like to throw in little mixed pieces into different collectives and shit.
Yeah.
So pretty much what to answer your question, it would be like Sauce Hiest, Todd Adele, Blue Asu, Aldo, Tree Mason, Demo. That's the church.
Okay, salute. See, and I've been tapping in, and I wasn't even aware that that was the moniker. So salute to that.
Yeah, so everybody got their own entities. They got their own cliques.
Yeah.
So you got Heist Life, you got BBM, you got Ocean Nostra. You know what I'm saying? So all those got their own little entities, but then we bring it together and we call it the church, because that's where people come together, right?
Yes, sir. That's dope. That's dope.
So that's how the church came upon, and now it's becoming a thing that people start making up shit like, yo, we're in Sunday school, this is Saturday class, whatever, and that's how we call the studio sessions. And it's not really me saying it; it's just like people calling that because of what the name is.
That's how it goes. Shit always takes a life.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's part of hip hop.
I love it.
That's dope. That's why I like to do interviews like this with talents like you and everybody you name, and just to get people more familiar, because there's a lot of people looking for guys like the crew you just named and your type of production.
Yeah.
So you answered. I do want to get into, first off though, let them know where you're from. I know we jumped right into the music. Yeah. But let the people know where you're from, my guy.
Nah, from the Bronx, New York, Soundview section. You know, a lot of history comes from Soundview.
So you touched on the music you listened to growing up and when you started producing. Who was your favorite MC as far as when you was growing up, or as far as when you was really starting to tap in with hip hop?
Oh, Nas.
It was Esco?
Oh, Nas, Esco.
Cheer.
I mean, I was a kid that saw him with the part haircut, and I did the same joint the following day. Like Raekwon also is another one. Raekwon, Nas.
Yo, Raekwon is I know, I hate to say slept on, but I feel like he's slept on.
Yeah, because
not enough respect as
Ghost.
Definitely not as much. I get, because Ghost has the material, But Ray has so many features.
Yeah.
The slang is crazy.
The slang, the get up, even how he carries himself today is still fly.
The swag is
I mean,
crazy.
come on, like, not for nothing. I mean, Polo's always been a thing. It's always classic. But when you see that man with the snow beach and all that, it's like, it creates this whole other aesthetic that he's like, yo, I gotta go out and get that same piece because of what you saw in the video. I feel like that's what's lacking nowadays too. Like when you see video, you see a person with the piece or whatever, you be like, yo, I want to get that shit. You don't see that no more. Nobody want to dress like these niggas.
Nah.
Keep up, part of my language, you know what I'm saying?
It's the DagogetaTv. That's what we talking about.
You know what I'm saying? Like I remember, like we're from that cloth. Like if I see Nas with the fatigue jacket, just like chance I'm gonna get the same joint or get the same haircut. I mean, one of my thing was like the Jesus piece. That's like a thing that is like a hip hop milestone and all that. So that's one of them things that you just grow up wanting to see. Like same thing like a Rockefeller chain. Like
imprints.
Imprints in
the game.
like Avorexes, all that.
Ooh, the AVs. Yo, these was getting cut.
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
AVs.
Remember that time? People were really getting them shits from them joints. You know what I mean? 40 Belows, all that shit. Like
all that.
Everything's coming back now, but during that time, that's the era that I remember watching rappers wearing it, and I'm like, yo, I want to get that shit. Even with my teenage years with Dipset.
I mean, they always Dipset definitely
with the Pele jackets.
Dipset,
you know what I'm saying?
Definitely had the influence. Fab, like
hell yeah, Fab throwback jerseys.
Yeah,
like we could talk about that for days. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, there's always an element of creativity and originality, but there's always influence from the people who
without a doubt
got more access, or they just had it first type shit. So, so that's part of the culture too, and that's what I do love about it. But so you spoke on production, so you were putting everybody together, pretty much being, like you said, an A&R, which is very important. When I want to reiterate, because if everyone is rapping and everyone is worrying about just being in the limelight first, it doesn't help really progress the movement.
Yeah.
So that's dope. But what made you want to transition to the production side? Because there was no producers in house.
It just so happened to be that way, man. I'm like, I can't, like, I keep it on it. I was in another side of the field also. I was working in an office. I was working at Rock Nation.
Okay.
So from there, that's why I say I was putting people together, getting people that I was fucking with in the production side of things, connecting with up and coming art. I was doing all that shit. So with the production thing, it was just like me touring with the fact of like, let me see if I could do this, because I was in rooms with No ID, Pharrell's, Knife Wonder, or I was watching these guys make beats, and I would play around with it, but not really take it too seriously, because one, I'm a serious dude when it comes to being creative. So if I'm gonna do something, I want to make sure I do it to the best ability. I'm not gonna just tell people I make beats and they hear my shit and they be like, "Yo, shit's alright," or "It's trash." You know what I mean? Everybody starts off somewhere, but I want to make sure my shit is confident enough to be like, "Nah, I got that shit." So it was a process behind that, and with that process, it was keep it on it, working with Street Mason, working with Blue. They were one of the first people that really believed in what I was doing behind the scenes of like, yo, I cooked up some joints on the spot. Let me know what you think. And if they rap to it, obviously they ain't gonna rap to just anything. Right. So that kind of built my confidence level a lot more higher. And then later on, working with Doe, being the fact that who Al Doe was, and working with guys like Sean C and LV, Buck Wild, all these legends, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But his ear for beats as well is very high up there. So the fact that he was like, nah, you got some shit, let's do a whole album together. Then that's when the confidence level built a lot more high for myself to be doing into production. And that's when I started really taking it seriously. Like, I think I got something, and I make these shits very fast, and I'm comfortable enough to do it in front of people to the point that I'm not hiding it. Okay. So that's when the production thing came seriously. And then when I started putting albums together with him, then that's when pretty much it came all upon. But it wasn't like, yo, I'm gonna be a producer, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna send people beats. I wasn't really up on it like that.
Really organic.
Yeah, it was organic. Everything was organic. Plus it was already the relationships there that I already had rappers that was already doing it, to be around watching me make beats and they could rap on it. It wasn't like I had to find a rapper, you know what I'm saying? These dudes were already rapping.
That was one of my questions too, about how did you build the rapport, because again, I'm on the outside looking in. It's still kind of fresh. Like I said, I don't front on DagogetaTv, I'm still getting familiar with the squad and your production.
Right.
So with that being said, how did you decide what was the sound you were gonna go for, as far as the type of sound you were gonna I don't want to say stick with, but as far as you know,
Like gravitated.
yeah.
Like,
It sounds always change.
Of course. I mean, just off of what I like, you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, like, not to sound dated or nothing like that. I listen to everything, but what moves me, you know what I mean? And I remember when Rock Marcy first started dropping and started coming out with Marsburg and all that, it was kind of like that feeling again of like, oh, this is the same type of shit that I remember listening to Ghosts and all that. And that, I mean, you know, it brought back that era, but it was refreshing at the same time. And then, like we talked about earlier, it became like a domino effect from Rock to obviously, no, even before Rock, like Sean Price.
Right.
Then seeing younger dudes doing it like Action Bronson and Joey Badass being the youngest at the time, still sticking with that sound, that the stuff that we grew up listening to, that kind of like motivated me to stick with what I like to do, because that's the shit that automatically grabbed my ear from when I first came up growing up. So outside of the stuff that was out at the moment that was popular, I like to go left, not right. I like to see where everybody else is not doing, I like to do pretty much that. So obviously nobody was really doing boom bap, but this like circle, this small circle, I'm gonna go here because obviously I like it. This is what moves me the most. Ain't a lot of people doing it. Let me try to be a part of that, and that came later on. So with that was pretty much my motivation behind the sound.
That's dope, and I like I said, I'm glad I came upon the music, because there's like you said, there's always people just looking for. I hate to say like this because it's not old, because it's not old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's modern.
Yeah,
it's modern.
So it's not. I don't want to call it old, but it's just, I guess, that particular sound, just where just the beat is not just taking over the whole song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where they could mesh with it how they want. If you do want to add something, it can be added. But you know, so I definitely think people appreciate that. So you mentioned it. So they were the very first people to tell you like one of your beats were dope. So that's definitely a good way to get started, and then, like you said, keep you motivated.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So, was there any talks? Cause I know cause you have a lot of after you did that first one, what was the next project that you did? You produced the whole thing.
Sauce Hiest.
That was the second one you did.
Spanish Sauce.
That's the Spanish Sauce genre? Okay.
Yeah, Spanish Sauce. We just said that one of them songs, Can't Be Fried.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Can't Be Fried. Let's catch up. The project is dope. I like Sauce. He's definitely been putting in work.
Hell yeah.
So I'm not familiar with his track record though. It was that prior to that, did he have a full project already?
Yeah, he already
produced by one producer, or was he working with?
Yeah, he was working with
different
people like Dirty Days, Camouflage Monk. Before that, Camouflage Monk being with Griselda and all them. But he was already doing his thing before that. That's why I was saying, like, even after Griselda, it became like a domino effect of me as a fan watching people online with similar sounds, but with their own niche. And Sauce was one of the first people I came upon outside of like Rome Streets, ST Nack. It's a bunch of dudes.
Uncle John is dope as fuck. Uncle John is dope as fuck.
But that was like a whole like domino effect of like going to this little realm of MCs that was
MCs, Willie the Kid.
Hell yeah. So with Sauce, that happened organically too. It wasn't like I reached out. It was just we knew somebody in the mutual grounds. Demo being another dope rapper from the Bronx, and they grew up together. So that's how me and Sauce got connected. He would mention Sauce a lot, like, yo, Sauce is doing the shit that you like, that you pretty much make. I should connect. And then Sauce reaching out, like, yo, I heard your shit, X, Y, and Z. Let's try to get some shit in. So even with that, me and Sauce connected on some organic shit. And he grew up a couple of blocks where I grew up from. So it's like a 6-degree separation. We kind of like the same exact people, same area. It wasn't far-fetched.
Mostly, because we talked about a little bit off camera. So most of everybody is kind of around the way type shit.
Hell yeah.
That's dope though, because you don't really get that. Well, you guys did kind of grow up together though, right?
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say you don't really get that unless people grew up together, but to all be in the industry together. Yeah. But that's dope though.
Probably the only one was like Sauce. Sauce was the last one I got a chance to really meet as far as like what we're doing. But after that, it just became full throttle. Let's just keep on creating music, and from there it became like another domino effect of other MCs from all around. Rochester, they coming from, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, it's everybody, Ito's,
Riggs, Matt, the Cloth, you know what I mean?
So how did you link up with the Rochester MCs?
So with Riggs, being from the Cloth, I met him in a showcase. was a showcase that I was actually judging.
Really?
Yeah, and he came there by himself rapping a cappella.
This was out here?
Yep.
Wow.
This is like 4 or 5 years ago. I was judging a showcase, and I was about to leave because it was like 30 rappers after the.
Dude, that's why I'm kind of amazed, because we were just saying how nobody really makes it out of those circuits. But for you to say that.
Yeah. So when I was about to leave, I heard like the first 4 bars he rapped, and the way he said it, I'm like, oh, nah, he sound mad, his confidence.
Yo, his confidence.
Yeah, so when I'm about to leave, I'm like, yo, who that? And I saw how he was by himself, saying he's from Rochester, just like the whole, like, I'm the shit, nobody could fuck with me in this room. And that just 4 bars. I was like, I gotta meet him. Like, let's link up, let's connect. And then we connect, we build a rapport. That was like 4.5, 5 years ago, before obviously what's going on right now. And then from there, just be, rapport, relationship. And then Riggs is his uncle was Mav, so that's how me and Mav connected. So same thing, like some 6-degree separation shit. And I'm a fan of Mav because the way Mav raps, it gives me like a storytelling, Edgar Allan Poe, Donnie Goines type of vibe.
It's like
Cinema. Exactly. That's how I like to call it.
And you accommodated. I'm being straight up. You accommodated so well. Especially because what is it? Breakfast at Sue's.
Yep.
I ain't tapped in with that.
Yep. That was the joint that was the only time I ever linked up with an artist that they wasn't here, that we got a chance to build from person. But we still had a rapport that we would talk to each other damn near every day, saying like what we can do different. How can we? That's why it's always important to have that artist-producer relationship, not just email person and see what.
Big difference.
Yeah, big difference. And the fact that we got a chance to really build rapport, talk about the plans, the goals, and what we trying to accomplish in the project, it all came to fruition when the project was done. So you could hear pretty much like, yo, all right, they were either in the same room or they had some type of dialogue that they mesh well with this project.
That's the vibe I got.
Yeah. So pretty much, but that's how the relationship stand up for me and Mav, is from Riggs, which ended up becoming from a showcase 5 years ago.
That's dope though, man, because I'm being straight up, that's been the conversation with some of the people I work with that do showcases, they do promo, and we talk about the New York scene, and I'm trying to put them onto some of these guys that, because they're not really heavy into it.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, damn, we were saying how the circuit is kind of useless, so for you to say that, I'm kind of blown away, I ain't gonna front.
Yeah, no, facts.
But I always feel like artists, especially NY, just use it as a like battleground. Get your shit oiled and ready to go, comfortable on stage. Like you see what captured what captured you. It was the bars, but you said it was more so
posture.
The posture, the confidence, commanding the room, wasn't from the area. So salute the Riggs, be that, like, you do gotta get out of your town. That's why I do call myself Mr. Everywhere. You never there, gotta plug that real quick.
I mean, perfect example too, West Side Gun. I mean, when I met West Side, shit, he connected with V Dawn. That's my bro. V Dawn.
Salute the V.
Yeah, salute the V. V Dawn told West Side about me. And V Dawn was pretty much the plug behind that. Not even a plug, just like, yo, connecting the dots. Like yo, y'all should link up because this X, Y, and Z is doing this, and he's a dope rapper. So Westside was like, yo, let's link up. I want to meet you. I heard a lot of good things about you. Plus Mad Cyphers. Mad Cyphers is another crew that was based out in New York with a public access channel that was putting a lot of people on.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so they were one of the first people that had Griselda on their show too. So they told me a lot about him at the time also. And I was big in my A&R shit, so I'm like, Westside reached out, like, yo, I heard you the guy to connect with, let's build, and start off with building it. And when he got to Rock Nation, I brought him to Rock Nation, we started talking and politicking and shit like that. And pretty much what gravitated to me wasn't even the music at first. It was pretty much like, yo, he got the Gold Fronts, he got the Jury, he from Buffalo.
What's swaggy? And he from Buffalo.
I ain't, at the time, I mean, outside of Rick James, but with that, you gotta do research to find out Rick James is from Buffalo. Before that, all I knew was about the Buffalo Bills.
That's it.
And even with that time, I ain't know much about Buffalo, but that's what gravitated me with that, the fact that how he looked. Plus, he was from a town I never heard rappers coming out of. So with that, going back to what you said with the how you look, how you carry yourself, and plus the confidence.
Plays a part.
He used to come by himself from Buffalo, trying to see what's up, like trying to bust a move, like what's going on in New York. I want to take over this town. I want to take over the city. I want to take over the state. And even with conversations that we had, this is also about manifestation. Everything he said pretty much came into fruition.
That's a fact.
And behind the scenes, he would say, I'm going to do this, because nobody's doing this. And then everything he's doing is pretty much conversations we had 2014. You know what I'm saying?
He's a visionary. You got to give him that.
Nah, 100%. 100%. And but going back to how the look and the dress and before the music, that gravitate like, who is this dude? And he got gold fronts. He look like one of them old, like, you know what I'm saying? Like Coogee Rapish looking, like, you know what I mean? I'm like,
it's the swag.
The swag.
That's like that aura.
That aura. You can't hide that.
Plays a part, like, cause okay, I'm glad that we here now, cause some rap fans, right? Cause I'm a hip hop junkie, but you know, there's like those kind of guys that don't want no type of mainstream, no type of, and I'm like. There was never a point where the it guy wasn't swagging.
Nah, not at all.
Like, I mean, let me know, cause Curtis Blow was swaggy.
But DMC.
Como D.
Yeah, and this is before. I mean, before all the time. But it's just history. History. They had everybody wanted to dress like them.
They was the influence. Rakim. Big like so.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That always was part of the package to be that guy. Not to be considered a real MC, but to be that guy, you gotta have the swag, man.
Yeah. Like, you gotta separate from everybody, but you gotta stand out too.
You gotta stand out. It's the skill and the look. So, but you see, we saying that I think now the problem is now niggas is too focused on the look. What you say about that?
It's like a costume.
Now it's like, okay,
let me put the shades on.
Nigga, you got all these chains, you can't rap though. All your shit trash. Or you coming out once every 3 years, but I digress though.
Yeah. My thing is, even with that, like we talked about right now, like it's kind of like you have the rapper kit.
The rapper kit.
Let me just take out the shades and I rap now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like that, but. That goes. I mean, like I said, I'm from that cloth that you kind of see when a person is really real by the way they carry themselves. You can just tell. You know what I'm saying? You can't hide that, even with the music. The music could be dope.
Yeah, the music you can't hide the passion.
Yeah, but you can just see like, I don't think his shit matches with his songs or his music. He looks a little timid. You know what I'm saying? Like. He took him to the wrong neighborhood. He looked a little, like a little shady.
If you never go out your comfort zone, I don't know.
Listen, I ain't super gangster but
we don't have to be.
But my thing is like, you are in your comfort zone. Like you are who you are, right? And every hood is a hood. You know what I mean? There's a hood everywhere. However you carry yourself is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at that shit.
And before we move on, I feel kind of. Before it was like a badge of honor. Now I feel kind of strange. Like, damn, why am I comfortable in every neighborhood?
It's gentrified. That's why.
It's comfortable in every
Once you see the
neighborhood.
Starbucks, you good. Starbucks and Whole Foods, like, all right. I mean, I walk by Marcy. I'm like, shit. This shit don't even look like how I hear them rap. Hell yeah.
But so I want to talk about the artwork too, man. For the covers, man. Who comes up with the artwork?
Majority of them is Dwayne Plains. He got it from Connecticut.
Gotta shout him out.
Yeah, he does a lot of the Rolling Louds, that festival. He does a lot of their covers and artwork. But outside of hip hop artists, he's a dope artist. He create anything.
Yeah, I could tell.
He's one of them dudes that you just tell him what's in your mind, and he's gonna put it on beyond that. He's an artist. Like,
I got you. The skills.
Skill set's different.
Your fucking covers, man, are definitely.
Nah, I appreciate that. Word.
Because that plays a part. I think covers always played a part right in the game.
Hell yeah.
I think it kind of escalated though. Because tell me if you agree. Before, at a certain point, 80s, 90s, maybe even mid through 2000s, the lyrics was just kind of number one. The image was important. But I kind of think like now covers is like really important.
It grabs your eye, especially when you're brand new. Like if you're brand new, nobody really knows what they're gonna expect. So the artwork is the first thing people see. Then the beats, then the lyrics.
So exactly. I'm like, now lyrics, you could definitely glide with that now.
I mean, I fall victim to that shit too. Like I look at the artwork, I'm like, that's an ill artwork. It has to be some type of shit behind this that's dope. Or I have an expectation behind it.
It does level up the expectation.
Yeah, so artwork plays a big part. I think artwork is the first thing you should focus on. I mean, music is the first thing, but when you're trying to bring
Outside
it to
of music, like
as a consumer, you're trying to package it up. You gotta make sure that artwork is the first thing that grabs people's eyes. So that's how it wheels people in, and that's pretty much what it is. Artwork, production, lyrics. I mean, lyrics is always the standpoint, but that's the last people really check for. That's the cherry on top.
I think it'd be hard for you to be that guy without the lyrics. And when I say that guy, I don't mean most popular. I mean that people who really enjoy music and critique music, to crown you one of those guys, you know, the Jay-Z's, the Kendricks, the J. Cole, like, you still gotta be nice with it to get that kind of recognition. But, you know, everything else, you know. But, so, when you drop something, I wanna know, does this happen to you? When you drop something, you just dropped your debut album right now, Long Way to Reach Heaven. How often do niggas be like, all right, so when is the next?
Or right away.
Does that happen to you often?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about me is I drop frequently, so it's not really. I never really get that. I'm mad consistent with my shit, and it's just I got a lot of shit in the stash. Plus, I'm creating something new every Saturday. I'm always having somebody coming in every Saturday, so the workload was nonstop because I create that. Like I have people come through. I build it's not even a build. It's an inspiration of Alchemist and what Mac Miller did with the rap camp. But I did it in New York. Like I'm bringing people. I'm bringing people that I feel like are dope in the city. That's making some type of noise in the underground. And I want to see dudes spar in front of me. I'm gonna play a beat. I'm gonna make a beat from scratch. I just want to see who gonna go crazy on each other, you know. And I like to see that competitive nature because that's the era I come from. I like to see people going at each other and seeing who got the best verse or debate who got the best verse.
Yeah, some type of pride with the shit, like.
Yeah. So I do that I did that shit every Saturday. It became overwhelming at a point because mad rappers would come in. But now it's like once every month, just like, you know, rap camp. People were like, yo, what you doing? And they'll come through and pull up. And I'll make it from scratch. A lot of the times I make my shit from scratch. I don't really have shit to send out with folders or I don't like sending I don't send
really
B folders.
Like
Yeah. It's like kind of like steel sharpen steel. Like you right on the spot, I'm gonna make shit on the spot. So that's how we pretty much get our level of talent higher. Cause at that point it's kind of like boot camp.
Yeah, and you just keep practicing, not getting complacent, thinking like, yeah, we good bread.
Yep.
But just speak to some of these upcoming producers and upcoming artists, the importance of networking. Because you pretty much most of this interview is pretty much based you were networking.
Yeah.
Stepping out. Before I do that though, is it I kind of read up you went to IAR?
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah. I learned it's an engineering school.
Yeah, if people ain't up on that, yo.
Yo, the crazy thing is I ain't even go to, it was a trade that I wanted to learn because I bought mad equipment without knowing how to use it.
Right, the same.
And my man went to school for that like a couple years beforehand. But the thing about engineering or even taking pictures, right? Everybody sees different things and everybody hears different. So you can't expect the person to hear what you're hearing. Everybody got different sets of ears for a reason, different tones, different everything. So for me, I was like, yo, I got my man who knows how to make who engineers, but for some reason I hear it different the way he's mixing it. Let me take myself to school for this. And that was kind of like a side trade. I really was there, like you said, for networking. Let me see let me build with people who's thinking the same way like mine.
Yeah.
I never understood the dudes that went to school there to be a rapper.
A lot of dudes tried that. I don't know.
I never understood.
A lot of dudes did try that.
I never understood, and I wasn't even making beats at that time. They were teaching us how to make beats, and I was like, yo, this is cool. I want to learn how to engineer because wherever I learned how to engineer from the school, I went back because I already had the equipment. So I would teach myself how to fuck with Pro Tools, and even with that, it took me like 5 or 6 years to really process the information that I learned from that school because I think it was 9 months.
Yeah, it was a quick program because I was gonna go. I actually ended up going to like a college that offered the engineer program. It was called 5 Towns College.
Yeah, 5 Towns.
Oh, you heard 5 Towns? So
yeah,
I didn't get to rock out, but I think I did same thing. I think I made a lot of connections. Some of the people I met there, I'm still friends with. It's been like 15 years, 20 years. So.
Yeah, I mean, the crazy thing about that school is that everybody going for the same thing, but you realize like years later how a lot of people who do graduate from there don't really follow up or don't really do music anymore. They
don't really follow up or do music. So.
And it's crazy. And even before that time, I was interning at Def Jam, And I was already, like, I'm not even dependent on nobody in the school to give me any placements in no studio. No, I'm trying to go full throttle with this and try to learn it on my own. I don't want nobody to help me with anything. I mean, I do everything already. I always had that mindset. I don't want to wait on nobody because nobody's going to move the way you move. So that's how I went to school for engineering, because I was like, I'd rather do this shit on my own. And then and I already know the pace that I work fast. The way my mind moves is like non-stop. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And it shows with the albums I drop. I'm already on to the next shit.
Yeah, you moving up. Well, speaking on that, then, man, I got a tough question for you, man. I got a tough question.
Mm-hmm.
For someone who's not familiar with the catalog, what album should they start with? You gotta give them one album to start off with.
I don't know. I mean, you gotta start from the first joint I worked on.
The first joint?
Doña Blanca 1 with Aldo. And to keep it real, even with that, I'm like, I didn't mix that joint, so I still have a little pet peeve on that, because I'm like, damn, I could have mixed this shit a lot more better. Well, but even with that was like throwaways that we had, and we waited a long period of time to drop them. So I was like, yo, let's just drop this shit, and it became one of those, and people fuck with it. We got a vinyl deal for that shit, so I'm like, yo, fuck it. It started off.
Yeah. So you gotta be salute to that.
Yeah. But as far as like projects that I keep on going back to listen to that I would recommend, it depends on the days too, but it would be like Doña Blanca 2 with Aldo. It's one of my favorite joints, because that was the first project I really started going full throttle, doing everything with the engineering and really going crazy. But that's like that's more of a personal for me, like my own, like like my own like trophy. Like I did this. This is the first project I worked on my own with another artist. And then Spanish Sauce would be another one to start off with, because and then from there it's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, because that's how I tapped in with one, and I just kept tapping in. Yeah.
And one thing I do on purpose is that I have certain artists I worked with one project, and I put them in a project with somebody I work with that's new. So I put them together, just have like a little domino effect of different ping pong effect, really.
Networking, man, it's important, man. People don't want to understand that networking. As far as just talking to the people, man, what's one thing you want to leave anyone who's trying to get into the industry? One thing you want to say they should be prepared for, or prepare their mindset?
Don't expect anything. Just go with the flow, do what you got to do. I mean, a lot of people expect things and end up disappointed. With music, you're going to get disappointed with a lot of things. You're going to expect a feedback right away that you want. You're going to expect all this, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just got to go there with a clear mind and just keep on working and keep it. It's kind of like a horse race. Don't look to the side, just keep on going straight.
Blinders.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that from Jimmy Iovine. That's the perfect metaphor, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at both sides, then you're going to end up falling. You got to look straight. So that's the perfect example where I would look at certain shit, and that's how I look at everything. I don't really I get inspired by other people that I listen to, but I don't look at what their come-ups. I follow what I got to do, look straight, keep on working, and don't expect much. And whatever happens, that's positive as far as, like, feedback and outcome. That's the plus. But other than that, I mean, just stay motivated. And as far as networking, build with an artist that you believe in, that nobody heard of, and you be the first one to actually come up with the sound that they have, and then you become that guy of like, oh, he came with a sound with a new artist. Kind of like perfect example of like Mustard and YG. They came up together, but they had their own sound. You know what I mean? Different type of music, but I always look at that as an example. Both new guys, they both came up together, and they both came with a sound together, and now they separated and doing their own thing individually, and they both became stars.
So sort of like what was that? Meek Mill? What do you have?
Jalil Beats,
right?
Perfect example. That's another example. Come up with an artist from the ground on up, build that sound with them, and then when y'all both on that level, then y'all could do, y'all can still work together depending on the relationship, but y'all can merge y'all and do your own thing.
I mean, that's hip hop.
That's exactly what it is.
That's hip hop.
Yeah.
So I got two more questions for you. I don't know, they might be tough because y'all know you're a hip hop head.
Yeah.
Give me 3 rap albums, of course, that you never get tired of.
Life After Death. Yeah, Biggie, yeah. But that shit is a motion picture right there.
It's a motion picture.
The Blueprint.
Okay, Hove.
Shit, the third one is hard. It's always a Capital Punishment. Big pun. How about to say big pun?
Okay,
Yeah,
that's some heavy bangers right there.
Capital Punishment for me, because from Bronx, I mean, you know what I mean?
Gotta rep the BX. I was wondering, like.
And I ain't gonna hold you. I remember when that album dropped, there was a sense of pride of like we haven't had in a long time of like how Brooklyn people with Biggie and Hove, Queens with Nas.
LL.
Yeah, LL. You know what I'm saying? There's always one factor of a borough that a person holds. Obviously, Staten Island with Wu. The Bronx obviously had Fat Joe, but when Pun came, it was like a whole nother realm of like, oh shit, we're here again. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he'll still be in the hood. Like he'll drive his Benz coming down because he's from where I grew up at. Okay. So he'll drive his Benz hanging halfway through, giving people money to buy ice cream and shit like that. He used to have a barbershop not too far where I grew up at. I was one of the little shorties that gave us free haircuts and all that. So, I mean, and Terror Squad members used to see all the time, like with the Ava Rex Terror Squad tombstone in the back. So it was like, it was right in front of your face when you're from there, and it was accessible to watch and witness people's come up in the very, for me at an early age, even with Lord Tariq and Peter Guns, like Lord Tariq from Soundview. And I remember him pulling up in the Escalade when Uptown Baby first came out. So I remember watching that shit, and I was like, damn, this is crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? But as a shorty, so all that connected to like pretty much how I felt about Capital Punishment at that time.
Man, it was fire.
Yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah.
So from a producer's perspective, give me the top 2 best produced Wu albums, whether it's solo or group to you. Remember, it's your opinion. I don't care what nobody else saying, all that other shit. The top 2 best produced, whether it's Wu group or solo.
I mean, by one producer or just produced like by like just whole fully produced by different.
What do you feel the 2 best produced, either Wu album or Wu solo? Whether you feel like it's Chef and Ghost, whether you feel like it's Jizza and Wu-Tang Forever.
Supreme Clientele, Ghost, and Only Built for Raekwon.
Ooh, all right, so
and I always mix it up too sometimes with like Iron Man. Iron Man is one of my favorites.
I love Iron Man. I love it. But you going Ghostface Supreme Clientele?
Yeah.
And Raekwon the Chef, Only Built for Cuban Links. You heard it here, people. The guy Spanish Ran, producer extraordinaire, holding down the city. New York in the building, Bronx. We here, we ain't never going nowhere. It's the GoGetterTv. I'm your guy, Deme D. Hip hop, and we out.
Appreciate y'all.
Deme D, man, fan.